Hello YouTube, this is Bruno. Now, I've been playing the game of Warden Wrangling quite a bit for the last couple of weeks, and if you don't know this game, the objective is to get the number of wardens, anything between 50 and 500 say, to a certain destination, and the rules are simple: don't die. And in this case, it was a mob switch for the beautiful Nether hub on our server, and I showed you in a video a couple of weeks ago how to build such a mob switch. But I won't judge you if the destination is the base of your best friend. But you know, prank responsibly and all that, because otherwise it might happen that your best friend is suddenly your former best friend. Especially if your prank leads to a death loop. People tend to get a bit angry. Now let's have a look what I did on my Hemisphere survival server, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the operation. I used very different technologies to move the wardens, mainly to check out how they work on a server. I'm not arguing if this is harder or easier than making shulker-based mob switches. At the time I thought it would be easier. So we wanted 4 spots with a local mob switch. So the nether hub is protected from all sides, but if no player is there, mobs would spawn in the nether, so we can run all of the nether-based farms. So let's go to a creative world and check out a few ways to move wardens. So first, I'm not using the player as bait. This is possible if the destination is in the overworld, you can just lure them through a portal. But in this case the destination is in the nether. We move the wardens through the nether, and I certainly don't want to run towards 100 wardens, so this option is not on the table. Now you might think we could use some noise machines to coerce the wardens towards a path here, but this doesn't work too well. Let's bring in a few wardens. So yeah, not a good idea. On the other hand, there are a few solutions that work perfectly well, but take a lot of effort to build. For example, this piston conveyor belt here. You have a warden in there, you activate the piston belt, and the warden is pushed away. The same is possible in vertical direction. But I'm not sure if you want to build this conveyor belt for 200 blocks or however far you want a warden to move. These are standard conveyor belts. The horizontal one is from Maizuma, the vertical one is Ilmango's adaptation. I will link both, but I won't talk about them today. A very simple way to move wardens is to have them pushed by lava. And the general idea is to use lava wherever you would use water in the overworld. So we have here these lava streams. And to move the wardens up, you just use a lava column. It can be falling lava, it will be a bit slow. In the overworld, of course, you would use a bubble column using soul sand. Basically, the wardens come in here. Let's spawn a few in. Doesn't really matter if they come in a 10-second interval. They won't despawn because they hear the noise, so I have spaced out a few noise machines. And eventually they will push each other. Even though the first guy is certainly attracted by the noise machine, the wardens behind them will push it, and the lava will push it. So eventually it will end up further along the path. And if we do a little bit of time warp, you see that it takes a while, but most of the wardens will end up in a destination. And of course there's another noise machine. They walk towards the noise, they walk in the lava, they swim up the lava, and they are pushed here into the scaffolding as you have seen in my last video. But it can happen that a few guys are attracted to the noise machine and they're fighting the lava in a place where the lava doesn't push them very fast. Then here I've created a little system where you can turn off the noise machines from a safe distance and watch the lava move the wardens towards the next noise machine. And if the next one is within 16 blocks, they won't despawn. And now we might have the same situation, so you might have to turn off the next noise machine and the next one until all the wardens are in the destination. Now this works really well. It is totally safe because the wardens can't get out there, at least if you build this all 3 blocks high. You can use fences, you can use walls, you can use building blocks, whatever you prefer. Now fences are a bit smaller, so you have to fill out these corners, otherwise the wardens could get out. But of course it's an effort. You need to build the walls 3 high, you need the lava sources, which are not stackable, you need the noise machines. So what would you do if you wanted to transport wardens in one direction but over large distances? So let's check out option 2. And this is much simpler to build, even though you need a bit effort at the ends. And the idea is to have a flying machine that pushes the warden in a straight line towards their destination. Let's bring in a few wardens. You can use lava to move them a bit, but of course you also want a noise machine to attract them. If new wardens come in, they will push each other. And then at some point you start this flying machine, and this is the easiest flying machine that you can build, like this part here. 4 slime, 2 sticky pistons, 2 observers, this is the standard engine. 1 block on this side to push them over, 1 block on the other side to have a bit of room for the return station. And what the station does, right now the flying machine is 4 blocks up, so the wardens won't collide with it. And first we push the front part down, then we push the back part down. This will also activate this observer and the flying machine will go. Let's do this. And there we go, the wardens are pushed towards the destination. We again have a noise machine there that will attract them and keep them from despawning. And here we have a return station that does the reverse. It pushes the flying machine up and moves it to the other direction. And this is really easy to build. And so we have a set of 2 return stations that just send the flying machine around. In the meantime, new wardens come in. So if this flying machine returns, we have a new batch of wardens just waiting to get in. And you see, it could even happen that the wardens follow the flying machine, but they're rather slow. And at some point, they will give up the chase, especially if the distance is a bit longer. And if not, also doesn't really matter, they will be pushed back. And this is also perfectly safe, and it's not really much of an effort for these flying machines. And you could go around corners by pushing them onto a lower platform, for example, or by having them swim up and have up here the next flying machine, so this all would work. In this case, we will just have the holding station, again with scaffolding to prevent entity cramming, and the noise machine to prevent them from despawning. And now the final option, and this is the one that Doc M used in Hermitcraft, I believe. And this is that wardens are lured onto this platform, and then you can push them, and you could also chain them together. In this case, I have a setup where it will just send these platforms, each containing up to 24 wardens around. Starting with 25, they would entity cram. So we activate a noise machine to lure the wardens out. Then we activate the chunk loader on top, and you have to go to the overworld once, and then the process of warden spawns will start. And it's a bit tricky to get them in on this platform. In single player, pretty much all of the wardens would end up on the honey platform. but on multiplayer on my server, it was maybe half of the wardens. The other half would just jump over to this wall and were happily standing around this piston here. So we get enough wardens in as we want, up to 24. Then we turn off the chunk loader, so we can get 1 or 2 more wardens, because we have 15 seconds until this chunk shuts down. And now we have self-returning flying machines that push them around. So this is also an Mango design. This flying machine is aligned that it will push this platform until it's blocked. And this is when it hits this furnace here. The flying machine will return on its own. And then we would have an observer detect that the flying machine arrives here and then start the next flying machine. And then the next flying machine would push the wardens in another direction. This is rather neat. Like so. And here's our target area. And we would have a noise machine that keeps the warden occupied. So when I tried this in single player, I thought this is easily the best way to transport wardens. But in practice, apart from the problem of getting them onto the platform, I had more problems. What worked here like a charm, the new flying machine would just pick up the wardens and move them over there. On the server, it would sometimes happen that a few wardens, or most of the wardens, just jumped off the platform or glitched through and fell onto the floor. Now mind you, this is not a problem. They will just despawn if they are on the floor after a while. But I would end up with a platform that had, instead of 24 wardens, maybe 4 wardens or maybe 15 wardens. So this wasn't too much fun. Especially if I tried to move the wardens upwards. You could also create a flying machine that goes up. The next issue was that these wardens don't despawn. So let's turn off all the noise. And this works perfectly over here with these wardens that stand on the lava. But for some reason, these wardens here won't despawn. We are over 30 blocks above the ground, so they can't hear anything from below. So you see, after a while, they all despawn. But on a honey platform, they don't. I don't really know why. Now, what will happen if you let them loose on the ground? They will despawn without a problem, but as long as they stand on a honey, they won't. Usually I rely on the ability to turn off the noise machine to despawn the wardens. As this doesn't work on honey, you might consider including a kill switch like this. So this won't interfere with the warden transport, but you will be able to detonate the honey, and the wardens will fall down to the nether roof and despawn there safely. So now I've showed 3 different methods of warden transport. Which one did I like best? Well, that one here. It is safe, it is fairly easy to set up, and I didn't run into any problems on my survival server. And as a bonus, you can transport as many wardens as you like, unlike the flying platform solution, where you can use only 24 wardens at a time. This lava transport is perfect if you want to transport the warden over short distances, but for longer distances, this one would be my choice. So overall, it was quite a lot of fun to move these wardens. They are actually not that difficult to handle. Essentially, if you wait a while, they will just despawn. All you have to do is to make sure they hear nothing, so make sure you can turn off all of the noise machines from a safe distance. Now for the farm mob switch, where I had to move them about 250 blocks, I used a second player to make sure that the whole distance was loaded. You don't want the flying machine with the wardens to break in midair. Other than that, it was a pretty smooth ride. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not hit the subscribe button so that you catch my next video? If you didn't enjoy the video, thanks for staying around so long. Prank safely and see you next time. Bye bye.